Hey everyone, welcome back to the Prepared Mind Network on the Prepared Mind channel. Over at Patreon especially, thank you for supporting us, but also on YouTube. Clicking like, subscribing on YouTube, and sharing people those public videos, it helps grow the Prepared Mind Network, the R Syndicate. It gets people involved and engaged in this dialogue, not just because Shit It's the Fan, especially here, isn't just items, and it isn't just news, and it's not just a political opinion. It's taking the whole picture in and then saying, oh shit, right? We got a problem, Houston. That's what we do here. And I don't do it to panic people. I don't do it to scare people. It's not fear porn. It's an examination intellectually of what's going on and saying, what can I do about it? What should I do about it? My thing is get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan, right? The preparedmind.club is the store. It also has forum. It has a lot of things, and that's for you guys. Go to the preparedmind.club for shopping for anything preparation. It helps us, and it helps you, because it funds what we do here, which is an examination of what's going on in the world. So, for anyone who's been here for any length of time, you know that I study all of this shit. I used to do it just because that's who I am. And then I thought, well, hell, I'll start this channel. I'll talk about all of the interesting things. And lo and behold, we're all here because we all enjoy it. And while we're not as popular as Greta Thunberg, oh my God, what a doll of the press, right? There are enough of us here who like the way I present things that it's viable. Right, I'm pretty sure we're almost as popular as CNN, at least in terms of views on a daily basis. Oh my God! Now, what is that saying, huh? What does that say? But if you took in all of the prepper networks and all of the financial networks and all of the networks involved in looking at this phenomena of a collapsing system, we definitely collectively get way more than all of the major news networks combined. Because what are they selling? Horseshit. Shiny, polished turds is what they sell. They sell a system of right-left paradigm. And in my opinion, freedom should be the third leg on there. Libertarianism being free. But freedom isn't discussed anymore. Have you noticed that? The silence of it? Fucking crickets. I don't think I've heard Trump use the word freedom once. And I like Trump. I think he's doing a great job considering the behemoth he's wrestling. Some slimy swamp creature. I understand that. But he's not even in a position, I should say, to talk about freedom because the other problems are so much bigger. Well, but if freedom had been respected, we wouldn't be here. Anyways, because freedom's not respected. Because these swamp creatures have been allowed to germinate, grow, expand, and start consuming, we've got some problems. So everyone knows I like psychology. And I saw a blog here. It's charleshughesmith.blogspot.com, link down below. He is an economist, Charles Hughes Smith. He's a very smart guy. I like to read his work. And I ran into this article. Says, now that we've incentivized sociopaths, guess what happens next? And he goes on to write about sociopathy, which, well, let me just read what he's got here. As long as central banks create and distribute trillions of conscience-free credit to conscience-free financiers and corporations, the incentives for sociopathy only increase. Sociopath is a word we now encounter regularly in the mainstream media. We do, right? But what does it mean? Typically, we hear it with regard to murder, someone who's a cannibal, mass murderers. The news tends to portray sociopathy and psychopaths, the psychopathy of it, as being some crazed individuals and lunatics. Just regular people that lost it and did something bad. They always refuse to look at the big picture and the big sociopaths. Charles Hughes Smith does a great job. Thank you, Chuck. You've brought this out. to show that sociopathy, mental problems, in other words, are not for the little man. When you put trillions of dollars behind megalomaniacs, right? Well, Trump is a billionaire, John. Well, yeah, he's a billionaire. We're talking trillions. When you pump trillions of dollars, what does that do to megalomaniacs? What kind of sociopathy do you breed? Oh, it's worth reading this article. He says, here is a list of 16 traits. And I'll see if I can put a link to that as well. Just the traits, the 16. But he says, one key trait is a lack of moral responsibility or conscience. The sociopath feels no remorse if he or she takes advantage of people or exploits them. Sociopaths are masters of superficial charm, intelligence, and confidence, and adept at massaging or misrepresenting reality, up to and including outright lying to persuade others or get their way. Now, you could say, ooh, you, me, everyone has a little sociopathy in us, right? If you get into the DSM manuals, psychology manuals, and looking at personality disorders, there's, let's say, a list of 12 or 24 different individual traits that a sociopath or a psychopath may have, or someone with narcissistic personality disorders. And again, we're talking about disorders, not individual traits. In order to have a disorder, you have to have a number of those traits and then act on them. See, it's not just the having, it's the acting upon, right? And it is through the acting upon that we see evidence of the sociopath. And by acting on economic sociopathy, we will see symptoms. This is where the rubber meets the road for preppers. The symptom of an individual psychopath or sociopath is evidence in the damage they cause in their lives, or the damage and harm they do to others, as in the case of a serial killer. Right? The sociopathy is apparent through their actions, not their thoughts. It's their actions. Right? I don't care much for thought crime or hate crime, right? Saying words. It is the acting upon, the physical harming of others through mechanisms. Once again, you don't have to have an axe wound to be a victim of a sociopath. You don't have to show a physical wound. They can do it through other mechanisms. The using of politicians and the using of the monetary system or the economic systems is how the trillions are used to perform sociopathic crimes. That is why it's illegal to do certain types of trading and certain types of this. And it's why it's illegal, it's immoral, it's wrong. Bribery, theft, extortion. There's no axe wounds that come with that. But it is still the action that's taken to cause things to happen that benefit a certain person to satisfy whatever sick desire they have. So, once again, I've talked about the acting out upon a sociopathic tendency that's funded with trillions of dollars. Thank you, Charles Hugh Smith, for giving us such good food for thought. Right? It's shtf cannon fodder for our minds. Right? It is important. It's imperative for us to think. The thinking man, combined with his muscle, his might, is the best man to be, in my opinion. Right? Because you don't go out to harm people and use other people. You empower yourself. Self-empowerment. Man or woman, doesn't matter. Man or woman. As long as your superpowers are being used for good. Right? For good. Good things come about as a result of it. So, I want to read another story here. Panic. Pure panic. Chilean peso collapses to 800 pesos to $1 US, blowing through record lows. You're going, wait a minute, we were just talking sociopathy and you jumped into finance. Right, trillions of dollars. The Chilean peso extended a 4-day losing streak on Tuesday, sinking the most in 8 years to a new record low. Pow! Right? Bloomberg reports that Citigroup believes that the Chilean peso is not yet at a stage where BCCH would intervene. Right? But Felipe Alarcon, chief economist at Euro America in Santiago, Chile, that is he's the one being quoted as saying, "This is panic, pure panic. It's the gringos leaving the country." Right, in Santiago, Chile, the gringos with money are leaving because they're losing there. What caused the problem? It's fascinating. What caused the problem? It wasn't the gringos being there. It was the exploitation through sociopathic economic systems that have been instilled. I'm going to go back and read a couple things that I wrote down. Okay, the collapse has started. Shit hitting the fan on the economic scale has started. Shit is hitting the fan, right? I'm going to start with Venezuela. It's been in an economic shit it's the fan for years. What caused the gringos to leave Venezuela? Right? To protect their ass. Right? They elected and installed Maduro, a socialist, and that country is destroyed. It's destroyed. The sociopathy of fascism and communism, to meet their ends, they'll take whatever nasty actions they have to get what they want, regardless of the destruction that occurs. Venezuela. Remember the Ecuadorian protests? Argentina. They elected some horrible ding-dongs, and their stock market dropped by 50% in one day. That was just a couple of days ago. Okay? The Chilean peso is going into hyperinflation. Venezuela's in hyperinflation. Bolivia, their military just recommended that their El Presidente leave because he was corrupt. But are they corrupt? It's this corruption on a mass scale. This desire to have extremist totalitarian control, whether it's extremist fascism or extremist communism, socialism, those things by their very nature are extreme. Their very nature causes those with sociopathic tendencies. Again, I want to read what the tendency, it's a nice little definition that we can use as a layperson, right? A key lack of it, or a key trait of it, is a lack of moral responsibility or conscience. The sociopath feels no remorse if he or she takes advantage of people or exploits them. A sociopathic government becomes totalitarian, and it believes what it is doing is morally right as people are being hurt, murdered, jailed, dismembered, disfigured, maimed, robbed, raped, and utterly destroyed. Entire lives, families, cities, counties, governments, countries are absolutely obliterated because they have sociopathic means, right? To do what they do. Their means, their decision-making means is, I don't care, I want this thing. Fascism, I want communism. And we're going to do whatever it takes. And they destroy. And it's happening right now. I have only listed off South American countries. South American countries. Chile, Bolivia, Ecuador, Venezuela, Argentina. Just in the past few months and few years, those 5 countries. Whoa, let's not forget Brazil. I love Brazilians, by the way. I don't have a Brazilian, but I love Brazilians. I actually have known Brazilians as well as seen Brazilians, if you know what I mean. Little joke there, wink, wink. How about French New Guinea? How about Colombia? How about Peru? How about Paraguay? Are any countries down there just kicking ass? And this is the saddest part, is these are beautiful countries, beautiful, with wonderful people, with fantastic. South America is like Australia, it's like Africa, it's like other continents in that it's unique in its flora and fauna and geography. It's a stunning continent. I've never been there. I will probably never go there because of the threat of communism, which is a sociopathic, psychopathic monster obeying the edicts of its ruling elite. Shit hitting the fan. The gringos are leaving. They're taking their money. Why would you invest in a place that's burning? Yet look at Australia, look at the United States, look at China, look at the European Union and all its member states, as they like to call themselves. They're not member states, they're slave states to the EU. What a fucking sham. Talk about sociopaths. The people in Brussels are a bunch of assholes that need a windowectomy, that is, a piece of their stomach cut out and glass installed so they can see where they're going with their head up their own asses. Ugh. It's a windowectomy. Thank you, Bill Cunningham. Old friend of mine from my childhood gave me that one. Windowectomy. These people are all driving us because of their sociopathic tendencies. Once again, they feel no remorse, and they're taking advantage of people, and they're exploiting them for their own self-gain. So whether they are politicians, bankers, or high-level elites that get trillions of dollars to tinker with the world and exploit them, this is happening. And this is why South America is falling apart. It's falling apart faster than the US and faster than the EU and faster than China, because it's being more exploited. More advantage is being taken of them. Argentina, believe it or not, and most people don't know, so they don't have an understanding, Argentina is a resource-rich, amazing country with a huge GDP potential. Right? It could be a California. It could be, I won't say a New York, but it could be a Texas. It could be a Germany if it was run properly. It really could. It could be a Germany if it was run properly. It could be the industrial powerhouse and agricultural powerhouse of South America proper, because of its proximity and its resources and its diversity of agricultural and mining resources, and its potential to use the population to build an industrial powerhouse. That's how gringos look at Argentina. I'll invest money there if it'll give me a nice return and that country prospers and it's long term, but they keep electing sociopaths to run the country, and they run it right into the fucking ground, and shit hits the fan. And it's not just South America. Well, let's move into Central America, shall we? Panama was a haven, now a shithole. Costa Rica, at one point, I would have considered living in. Shithole. Right? They're collapsing. You don't even hear about Honduras and Nicaragua because they are shitholes. They're in trouble, all of them. And Mexico is considered part of North America, as it should be. Central America isn't a continent. It's just kind of a geographical name. But I guess you could put Mexico in that. It's not North America, Anglo proper, Canada and the U.S. But Mexico, incredible drug cartels that can beat the government in a gunfight, in battles for control of territories within the country. What a fucking mess, huh? Oh, shit's never going to hit the fan, John. You're a fool. All of you preppers are idiots out there. I know what's going on because I watched Fox News and CNN. I've got a grasp of what's happening in our country and around the world, and I have the solutions right here in my vest pocket because I'm a fucking idiot. Right? That's the average person. They have no clue. They'll see a blip on Argentina, a blip on Chile. They'll see a blip on Pakistan. They'll see a blip on Afghanistan, Pakistan. They'll see blips about stuff, but they'll have no real understanding of the underlying causes of it. And as a consequence of that, they don't see where things are going. They don't feel the need to prepare because they don't understand what they're up against. You and I are preppers. We do understand, and that's why we're here. Not to kick ass, not to take names, but in an effort of self-preservation, for God's sake. That's what this is about. At this point, it's all we have left is self-preservation. Once you understand that incentivized sociopaths that are being funded with U.S. promises in the future to pay the taxes on the money they borrow from us to finance these lunatics. That's what the system is. I mean, if you want a definition for insanity, an entire world, the world order, China, EU, US, takes money from their people to fund these ridiculous, destructive systems of control. They incentivize these wackos to do what they do. Wow. And we're trying to make our way through this world. It's incredible, incredible, incredible. And that is why I wish you bon chance, right? Good luck in getting prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and have a means of self-defense. Not to take over the town or the state, but to protect your very life. Because in reality, that's all we have is our life and our health. And a few little things, right? Like food and water and shelter and clothing. You need those things. And that's really what life should be about, is living a good life, living a healthy life. And that includes mental health. These fucking sociopaths, they are the ones who have done this to us. And they're going to cause their foot soldiers, the idiot youth who believe socialism is the way and the path and the light to prosperity. When we're seeing in South America yet again how socialism and sociopathy go hand in hand and lead to destruction. And it quite literally, when I sit at night quietly, I weep for these countries and those peoples, because they should have it as good as we have it here. Every individual out there should, by means of their own mind and their efforts, their work, live a comfortable and decent life, and not be robbed blind and terrorized by their own government and by drug cartels. And we should, by all right, and I mean this sincerely, profit by our own efforts, and then have the comfort and relaxation to enlighten ourselves further, right? Not entertain ourselves mindlessly, but enlighten ourselves spiritually, intellectually. We should have that type of disposable time where we can invest it in ourselves. I would love to see a world that's like that, right? But alas, that's not what we have. Thank you for supporting, sponsoring, liking, sharing, telling people you have to come and watch the Prepared Mind videos and start waking up. You want to get woke in the right way? Get an understanding of what's going on out there. Don't get taken down a fucking rabbit hole of climate change or socialism or some sort of activism that's going to make things worse. Take care, right? Make yourself whole first. At least do that, right? Become a prepper and make yourself whole as a person. Which covers, yes, spirituality, right? An understanding of who you are and what your purpose is before you try and go out and change the world by marching down the street and stopping traffic and ruining other people's lives. Good God, these people are dumbasses. Anyways, don't get me started on that. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Chance favors, the Prepared Mind is yours. Semper Fi. Godspeed to all.